Morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching me from. This is still Architect Chidi of the Finance Consult. So today I want to welcome our old and new subscribers. Please stay tuned. We'll be dishing out a lot of things concerning construction and building. So today I just want to highlight something very important in building. Very important in building. You see, we have a whole lot of issue when it comes to materials in site. When it comes to bringing materials in site, when it comes to who should be in charge of materials in site. You see, it is not a must that your engineer will be in charge of your materials. In fact, many engineers will not. Why many will want to buy your materials? Why many don't want to buy? Because of the negative or past experience they have towards such occurrence. Buying materials in site is depending on terms and conditions. When you are planning to do your project and you are planning to involve an engineer, there are 4 different kinds of contracts you can sign with the person. One, the first kind of contract you can sign with an engineer is how much will I want to give you. It's called turnkey. It's called turnkey project. You don't have time. Your family don't have time. You don't trust any other person. You not actually trust. You don't want any other person to be part of the project. Give me your best. Turnkey project is do everything and give me the key. So that's the first kind of contract you can sign with your engineer. So in that contract, nothing concerns you with the materials, nothing concerns you with labor, nothing concerns you with engineer fee. He buys everything, he does everything, do the construction, takes you up on the process and informs you of what is happening. So turnkey project is like the engineer is doing everything. Whether the money is enough or whether the money is not enough is signed. He will have to finish your project. That is turnkey project. 50 million is going to finish this project and I'm going to pay you 30 million upfront to a particular stage, and that project is ongoing, and once it reaches to that stage you release the remaining funds to finish up the project. That is turnkey project. That is one. Another type of project is labor and supervision. Labor and supervision is the kind of supervision where you buy the materials, whether you are buying the materials or whether your brother is buying the material, whether your uncle is buying your material. Anybody that can buy your materials for you, buy the materials, bring them to site. The engineer charges you for the work that is going to be done. That is the labor and his own supervision all joined together. You understand? So in that process, you don't have anything to do with whether the engineer has nothing to do with materials. What he has to do is tell you the kind of material he buys, tell you the kind that he doesn't accept, and you work totally with it. I don't know if you understand. He doesn't have anything. So because one of the challenges we are having is many say engineer is overquoting, engineer is eating our money. It depends on the kind of project you gave your engineer. If you first of all you cannot finish that first kind of project turnkey, or you cannot do labor and supervision, the next kind of one a contract you can sign with your engineer is the third one kind of contract you can sign with your engineer is supervision. I have this drawing, I have my materials, I have someone that can pay the workers. How much will you charge per stage of this work? The engineer will say, okay, based on my expenses, based on accommodation, based on feeding, based on. But the problem we have is that many people will not like to pay the engineer very well. That is the problem we have. When it comes to supervision, many engineers, many clients will want to pay you peanuts, so that by the end of that project or that particular phase of that work, you are already on a loss. So many engineers will not like to take supervision. Why many? That is their favorite if you can pay them. Nothing concerns them with labor. Nothing concerns them. In that case, you are far away from headache. Whether they are stealing materials, whether they are securing material, whether they are doing anything, just tell them the materials you need and you are okay. So that is the kind of projects you can actually do. The next kind of one is you can actually decide to do for free. You don't charge anything. You can decide to be coming every day. Once they can, it's like a contract base, 3 times a week. See what they are doing, do your corrections. Next week you come. There are different kinds of ways. So when we say that engineer gave you materials and he's conniving with his people to eat your money, that is not totally true. It depends on the kind of projects and kind of contract you sign with your engineer. Very, very important, because when I hear such words, it's not encouraging. Unless you say, okay, engineer, help me buy materials. That is when you will say, this engineer wants to kill me because I asked him to help me buy materials and he's taking the opportunity to steal from me. You understand? But if you charge, if an engineer charge you on turnkey projects, what you are owing him or what is owing you is to hand you over the key. When you are charging labor and material, labor and what's it called, and supervision, nothing concerns the engineer with the materials. When you are charging for supervision, nothing concerns you with the materials. So instead of joining the general multitude to say that engineer is stealing materials, they are overquoting, they are doing this one and doing this one, you can decide the one kind of contract you want to sign with your engineer. If you are the one that want buy your material, good, buy the materials, let me come and do my work. If you are the one that will pay me, the workers, in fact, call your workers. But one thing, I like working with my workers. I like working with my workers. I love working with my workers. It's fast and peaceful for me. But nothing concerns me with your materials, because many people think that is from the materials they are buying, engineers are buying, that is where they are taking all the money from. Buy your materials, nothing concerns me with it. Give me work, let me do. That is it. Pay me well in my own work. But the problem we are having is many people will not like to pay. So the engineer will now be looking for a loophole. Some engineer will come, a labor of 100,000, they will cut 50,000, then use materials to cover it up. You understand? I want to tell you work and clients, let me tell you, even if you are around and whoever is buying materials for you wants to dupe you, he will do that comfortably and even get double in your presence. That is one thing I tell people. It's not about being available. It's about finding a trustworthy person that can help you. I've seen somebody who went to market to buy ties with a client and with the client's brother. He came back with almost 3 million. He came back with 3 million with the client there, with the brother there. Can you see the level of wickedness? So how will you now cash you? Why? It's going to be because you are there, you saw everything, but business is being done at your back. This contract work is based on trust. It's not based on whether you are there or whether your brother is buying. Your brother can also be a very bad brother. So it's not about being available. It's about trust. Who will deliver your work for you? So once again, when they are talking about engineer ate my money, what kind of contract did you sign with your engineer? Very, very important.